Cheating spouses through astrology. Know if he's cheating on you. Before we begin today's video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So this video is about cheating spouses and partners. And so we will begin with the 7th house, which is the house that's associated with marriage and partnership. So the 7th house, it's the house of Libra, and Libra is the sign which controls partnerships and balance in partnerships. And Venus is the lord of the 7th house, and Saturn is the directional strength of the 7th house. So the 7th house is actually an air house, and so Saturn has Digbala there. The 7th house, it signifies your spouse, partnership, the public, so the general public as well. So you are the first house. Opposite to you is the 7th house, which is the other people. So you are like your inner world, and the 7th is the outer world. It represents the character, appearance, and looks of the spouse, sexual diseases, sex life, partners, reproduction, and the 7th house has to do with foreign trades, home in foreign country, marital happiness, and your cheating spouse. Now, can we tell a cheating spouse through astrology? And how can you tell? Well, let's begin by looking at the 7th house. So, we're going to look at who is the lord of the 7th house. And we're also going to look at Venus and Jupiter because they're the signifactors of marriage. They're the two planets that actually bring two people together in a union. And we're also looking at Rahu conjunctions with the 7th house. And Rahu, what is Rahu? It's the severed head that has no body. So it is it's constant desire which doesn't get fulfilled. It's wanting more. It's constant wanting more. It's constant craving, and it is breaking boundaries. And it's actually the karka of cheating. So this severed head is putting things into its mouth, and it keeps putting things in its mouth, but it doesn't feel full because it doesn't have a stomach to contain and to get full. So it doesn't know that it's just taking things in and not getting full. It just wants more and more and more, and it's never full. It's never satisfied. So when Rahu and Saturn are lords of the 11th house of Aquarius, and Rahu is exalted in the 3rd house of Gemini, and Rahu aspects the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th houses from where it sits. Okay? And Moon with Rahu, it affects the mind in a negative way where it creates, because Rahu is the cheater. Rahu is what leads to the cheating. It is affecting the mind here because the moon is the mind. So here you're cheating in your mind first. The thoughts of cheating come. You're thinking about cheating. Your mind becomes fickle. Now with Venus with Rahu, now Venus is the house, the planet with that rules love and marriage and commitment. So when Venus is sitting with Rahu, Venus becomes damaged, and the person isn't able to commit fully. They're not willing to give their love in its fullest. And when looking at Rahu in conjunction with Venus or Mars, you need to look at the degrees. Now, this is very important because this will actually show you how much and to what extent the cheating is involved. So you could have somebody who is, they're just someone who flirts and doesn't do anything, doesn't follow through. Or you can have somebody who is on the computer and they're cheating at that level. Or you can have somebody who is emotionally attached to somebody who is emotionally cheating. Or you can have somebody who is actually full-blown cheater, physical, mental, emotional, in every which way. So it depends on the degree, so that needs to be looked at. So looking at the planets to see who controls the seventh house. So as an example here, we'll look at this. We have Rahu and Venus sitting in the seventh house, and we have Moon as the ruler here. And if you look at Moon, Moon is sitting in the 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of loss. It's actually the house of sleep and bed pleasures. So now it's moved there. So that's not a good thing. Looking at which planet controls the seventh house, be sure to look at whether it's in good dignity, whether there's a conjunction with Rahu, and to what degrees. So when Mars in the seventh house, a lot of people don't think that's a good thing. Not necessarily. When you're having the Mars in the seventh house, in Cancer, Leo, or Capricorn, it can show somebody who is they're suspected of cheating, but they're not necessarily doing it. They could be very faithful, actually. They could have some kind of a link, some kind of a connection with Rahu and Saturn, which are causing the conflicts in the marriage. They're not necessarily cheating, but they will be suspected of it. And that suspicion that the partner has is what will cause the problems. So another indicator is if the Lord of the seventh house is sitting with Rahu. So if you're looking at the seventh house, who's ruling it here? We put Saturn here, and here we put Saturn in the fifth house with Rahu. And so here the seventh house is Saturn. Rahu, as we know, is the cheater. It's what causes cheating. And here I just added in just another little throw in with Uranus. And Uranus likes to break things. And this is in the house of romance. So fifth house is romance. And now Uranus likes to break things. It's sudden changes. And you could also have, like, let's say if Neptune was there, then that would be illusions and deceptions. So that would add another degree to the cheating. Rahu in the seventh with Moon and Venus would then, that would put Ketu in the first house. And Ketu is, it's something that would make a person very impulsive and detached. And they like to act without thinking. Okay, they just go ahead and they just do it. They don't think first. It's not someone who is, planning something out. And this is just something very impulsive. And they don't control their feelings too well. Now, Rahu is in the house of others here, in the seventh house. Whereas you have Ketu in the house of I. So Ketu is without a head. So it's impulsive. It doesn't think, before it does. And Rahu just wants more and more and more. It doesn't get enough. So this placement here with the conjunction is a bad placement here for that reason. It creates extreme desires, and the Ketu, it also creates detachment easily. So you could very easily get detached from your situation to create that headspace where you're not really thinking before you're doing. Now, if the moon is in a planetary war, what that means is if the moon is in aspect to or opposition to the moon. So this is just an example. Let's say you have moon here in the 12th house, and it's aspecting if it's the moon is in the 12th house, and that's the house that is the house of secrets and hidden things. And again, I just threw in Uranus and Neptune in there just to, add a little bit of extra in here. And we have Mars and Mercury. And Mars and Mercury is also, Mars is the planet of war, and Mercury is the communicator. So here, the mind is in conflict. It's fighting itself, and so that creates a situation. So now another one is if the Lagnesh, so here we have Saturn, is linked to the Kama houses, and the Kama houses are 3, 7, 11, and or if Rahu is linked with it. Okay, so if the ascendant, which is again Saturn, is in the 11th, which it is, then and if you have then and Rahu is sitting here in the 3rd, so now you have two planets sitting in the Kama houses. But in this incidence, this example here, we not only just have that, we also have Rahu, which is aspecting Saturn by its 9th aspect, and we have it aspecting the 7th house through its 5th aspect. So here we have quite a situation where, cheating is very, it's right here. So 7th house linked to the 8th house and the 12th house. So if you were like in any which way. So in this example, we have the Lord of the 4th house. So we have that in the moon, which is Cancer. And we have the moon sitting in the 12th house. So that gives you that situation. Now, if you had the moon here instead, that would also create the same situation. So it's just being linked to the 7th house. So the 5th house, if the 5th house is linked to the 8th and to the 12th house, it again is an indicator. So here, this example, we have the sun, the ruler of the 8th house, sitting in the 5th house with Venus. So, and here, this Venus and Sun here, Venus is combust. So that again is a bad situation. Now, if the Lagnesh is sitting in the 11th house, it aspects Venus here. Okay, so again, it's in aspect here. Mercury is aspecting the moon. So we have two aspects here, one with Saturn and Venus, and one with the moon and Mercury. The ascendant Lord is linked with both Mercury and with Venus must be there. So both of them have to be this condition, both of them have to be there. If only one condition is here, it's not an indicator. So these planets, these placements, the person is always looking for something else, because if you're looking at the 5th house, then this is the house of romance, fun. It's the fun things of life. And then you have the moon, which is your mind. And here is that war going on. It's creating a situation where the person is always looking for new adventures, new people to impress, new people to get involved with, new people to engage with. So it creates that kind of a situation. The mind is constantly in conflict and confusion. The Mercury here is also, the Venus here is also combust with the Sun. So again, that's not good for love situations either. Now, another thing that is an indicator is the Guru Jandal Yoga. And this is where Jupiter is with Rahu in the 3rd house. And reason being is Jupiter's natural house is the 9th house. And here we're looking at Jupiter, the guru, and we're looking at Rahu, which is wicked. It's the cheater. Now, the Rahu that corrupts the guru. The third house is also the house of prostitution. So when you're taking the guru into this environment, it creates a bad environment for the guru. It takes away the spirituality of the person. So where they would normally, Jupiter is the one that will give the person a sense of morals and values. Here, their morals and values are corrupt. So they don't have the right values to stop themselves. So they'll actually go ahead and cheat. So, one note for everyone is that you must look at your chart as a whole and not in parts to fully analyze it properly. Please don't make any assumptions by looking at one or two placements. The charts must be looked at as a whole to get a full and complete analysis. So don't just make any assumptions by something that you see. If you see two planets sitting in a particular place, there's so many different combinations. There's so many things that we can see, and there's so many other things that nothing is proven 100% in astrology. Everything is, 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It's combinations that you see the most that get linked into certain situations. So don't make any assumptions. Have someone look at your chart properly, or look at your chart as a whole and then make your assumptions. Don't just do it on one placement or two placements. So my next video is on the 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, and how that affects your chart and why you should not fear it. And so it's all full detail on these houses. So please do watch this video, and it should be up soon. And thank you for watching.